Welcome back to Ever. So today on another episode of Urban Survival, I'm gonna show you that other plant that is here on the property where I work, and it's not a very common plant here in South Texas. Like I know there's a couple of them here, but I wouldn't say it was common. Once again, it's one of those fancy, it's gonna look nice when it's bigger kind of things. And the thing about it is that this plant does produce something that is edible. Now, granted, it's going to take a little bit more processing than the yucca plant per se. Let's just say that it will take more processing because it is edible, and it's only edible at a certain time of year. And but once it's, I guess, let's say fully ripened or ready to harvest and process, it is a very good source of nutrients, and you can use it to make a lot of things. Like even I think for sure you can use it to make flour, and it's an interesting plant to say the least. And like I said, it's not very common here, but if you do happen to run across it, it does have some survival properties that are beneficial if you are in a situation where survival is a must and you are in a urban setting. Now, stay tuned and we'll get to it, and I'll take you right up to the plant and give you a little bit of a rundown on it. I don't know much about it, but I know enough, I think, to be helpful, if that makes any sense. Stay tuned. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take you over here to where this plant is and try to give you a little bit of insight about it. And just about as much as I know. So, because I don't know much about it, because like I said, it's not very often that you see this plant here, unless it's bought and paid for and brought here. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Now what you're looking at here is called a live oak. Now this is a type of oak tree that can survive here in the hot summers and so on and so forth in South Texas, because it's a very hardy tree. Now the way you could tell it's a live oak is by the leaves. It has these very like oval shaped leaves compared to other oak trees that have like different fingers on the leaves and such, and some have a point at the end, and these don't. These are rounded. So now what this tree, let me see if I can find a good cluster. What this tree can provide you with is, let me see here. There you go, right there. Let's see if you can see that. Now that right there, those right there are acorns. Now, these acorns are edible and will be edible. And there is, there's a problem. There's only one issue with it, considering the fact that it is edible, is that it takes a lot of work to make them edible, but they are a very, very shelf stable survival food that you can find, if you can find it at all. now now this tree actually does have a period of when it's useful, and the acorns are useful when they actually decide to drop sometime in September and November, depending on the tree. Now this is a young tree, so I'm pretty sure what it has will probably drop in late November. Now, when they drop, you can pick them up and use them. Now, I had to come back to my table because I don't want, the tenants to see me talking to myself and start thinking that I'm, some on the spectrum, I guess. Now, like I said, now these are the acorns that the live oak produces. Now, right now, this one's very green. And like I said, these would be good once they fall from the tree, which would be September, November would be the season for these. And once they fall, you can collect them. And what you have to do now, the problem with these acorns is, and here's the leaf too, so you can see the way the leaf looks on the live oak tree. And the way that you can tell, well, I'm sorry, back to it. The way that you make these edible is that you have to leach them. Now, leaching is a very long and painstaking process. Now, what happens is you have to soak these in water because acorns are, they actually contain something called tannin. Now, tannin is it's a very acidic, it's a very acidic thing, a very acidic compound. And what happens is that if you eat too many acorns or too much, if you ingest too much tannin, it will make you sick. And in a survival situation, you don't want to be sick to the point where you're throwing up because you're, literally losing water that, you need in your body. Now, leaching is basically you're going to get them and you're going to throw them into a bucket or a container of water, and you're going to continue to do that till the water comes out clear, or as clear as you can possibly get it. And that, would be, you basically draining all the tannin out of it. Now, if I remember correctly, I think that tannin, or yeah, I think tannin can be used if you were to try to preserve, or I guess tan, which would be like curing animal skin, like deer or rabbit or so on and so forth. You basically get a bunch of acorns that turn water basically brown, and you throw skins in there and you leave them, and you end up tanning it, which gives it that nice color, that tan color. And I'm pretty sure it adds a protective layer to the hide. And I'm not sure about that. I'll have to check on that, but I think that that's one of the ways you can do it, like one of the old school ways. Now, one of the main things that you can do with acorns, besides the fact that you can roast them and just pop them like peanuts, is you can make acorn flour out of them. And that's what they were mainly used for, to make flour. And what you do is you roast them, and then you pulverize them into powder, mix it with a little bit of water, and it creates a flour. You can actually make a dough out of it. And I've seen people that they cook acorn pancakes. You can do that in like a little camping skillet, or you can do that on a flat rock, and you basically, you add water, you smash it out into a pancake, and you cook both sides and you consume it. It's basically just an acorn cookie, or like a peanut butter cookie, maybe you could say, because it's kind of like a peanut. But that's just one of the other things that you can find if you look for it, if you're lucky to find it. And like I said, it is a seasonal thing. So let's say you're walking around and you happen to run across it. It's not ready to produce anything for you at the time, but you can make a mental note and say, you know what, I know where there's this at this time of year, and you can go back to that plant at that when it's ready, and you can process it out and get you something that is edible and that is pretty much free. Because I really don't think anybody cares if you collect acorns off the ground. And here in my hometown, it's actually it's quite common. Not the live oak or an oak tree to begin with, but it's quite common to find pecan trees in people's yards and in businesses, and and pecans fall all over the place. They fall as far as the tree is wide. And a lot of people that I know, and I've personally done this in the past when I was younger, you can go up to a person's house and be like, I'm sorry to bother. I saw that you have a pecan tree, and there's a lot of pecans on the street and on the side on the sidewalk. Do you mind if I pick them up? and they will tell you no, because I mean, a lot of people have these trees, I'm sorry, basically just for the shade application of it, just because they give off a really nice shade. And the fact that they produce a type of fruit or nut is just a bonus, really. And a lot of times they don't want to pick it up, and they don't want to waste their time. Some of them don't even water it. These trees get watered because there's a watering system here that goes off at a certain hour. But yeah, there you have it. Yet another edible plant that is found in suburban areas. So, like I said, if you like this type of videos, and if I'm helping you if I'm helping you at all with this, like, hit that like button. Don't forget to share and subscribe and leave a comment. Um, Urban survival. Side note, this is exactly what you're looking for. Like, I managed to break it open, and this is what's inside the acorn nut. So this is what you're looking for, that's gonna be edible about the plant. So once again, if you like these types of video, like, share, and subscribe, leave a comment, and we'll be back with another one soon. Y'all have a nice day. Peace.